Hi, I'm Kat. I'm a fourth year jewelry major student here at Alberta College of Art and Design. And what we'll be doing is a soft square ring wax carving. So this is a soft square, and this is going to be the ring that we're going to be carving. It's a simple design, yet there are some challenges that you will be running into as you go. So some safety tips at first. If you're using any power tools, we want you to wear safety glasses. But today we'll just be using hand tools. So to start, you have something like this. It's a wax ring blank. There are different, you see this one's green? There are different wax hardnesses. Different brands have different color codings for their hardnesses. This one is the matte brand. It's one of their harder waxes, which makes it brittle, and it's green. So what you want to do first is you take your dividers and you measure out the distances that you want the thickness of your ring to be. So I've chosen 5 millimeters across, and what I will do is I'll score a line across your ring blank all the way around. What you've done is you've created a line for your saw blade to follow. So you have a simple wax frame on your bench pin. There's a spiral wax blade in it to allow for the wax to remove itself as you're sawing, so it doesn't get gummed up. When you're sawing off of this ring blank, it's very, very difficult to cut a straight line all the way across. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting partially of the way through, all the way around, and you're just going to spin it. And that keeps you from creating any unwanted removal of material. You're going to go through right away here, and there we go. So you see at the end here, it's all rough. You're going to get the same thing on the inside of your ring. And we want a blank canvas. So what you do is you take your file. I have a double-ended file. One side's a bit rougher than the other, and I'm going to use the rough end. You always brace your hand against the bench pin to help with stability. So I'm just going to file across the top to just get rid of some of those saw blade marks that I made. Again, we just want a blank canvas because we're going to make some marks on this ring. See? Perfect. And it should be about 5 millimeters across. The next thing we want to do is this is going to have to fit somebody. It's a ring. So we want to choose the size of the ring. What I have here is an inside ring Mandrel reamer. You stick it on and you ream out the inside of the ring. And what this does is it sizes it for you so it fits on somebody's finger. I'm gonna go to a 6.5. Okay, this thing isn't always accurate. So you want to get your trusty mandrel and check it. I'm right at a 6.5. You never want to force your wax onto the mandrel because wax is still soft. It will move and you might get an inaccurate reading. So right when it hits its tension point, you stop. And that's how you get an accurate reading of your sizing. So how thick is your ring going to be? 2 millimeters wide is a hefty ring. But we're going to do that because it keeps a simple and easy goal when you're filing down. So you take your dividers again, you measure out 2 millimeters. Dividers are really handy. You want to be able to work them with one hand. You take the inside of your ring, and this is how you make a 2 millimeter across. See there? So So what we're going to be doing is we're going to make these markings. And what I've done is I've put talcum powder or cornstarch or baby powder will work. And it allows you to have a real sharp look on what's happening with your markings. You just rub it on and it'll get caught in the lines that you made with your dividers. So this is the thickness of the ring. What we want is these points that we're getting on the ends of the soft square. And how are we going to get to that? Well, a soft square is a square. So we need to make this ring blank a good reference for that square. So the best way to do that is you measure the bottom, and you go to the top, and you measure that distance out. And then you make a line all the way across, and all the way across the back, and we're going to cut that off. And what that'll do is it's going to make this a perfect square. So that's a lot of metal a lot of wax to remove with just a file. So I start with your saw blade. It's nice and simple. Then you take your wax file and you take some more wax away, but you're looking at your line. You don't want to go over your line, because then it's not going to be a square. It's very important, and this is where you're teaching yourself precision. Because if you get this part wrong, everything else that follows is going to be inaccurate. You see, I'm always constantly wiping away extra filings just so I can see that line better. So it looks like I've got it pretty even. You check your field of vision. Is that flat? Is your hand skills flat? I use the side of my bench pin like this, and I went up and down. That's an easy way to keep flat. You can also brace your hand, put your file down, and push. If you're nice and slow and you trained yourself well, you're gonna get a nice flat file mark as well. It's easy, yet really, really difficult. So now we've got this shape. We're gonna make a mark. We're gonna do these at 45 degrees angles. So what we have is this corner and this corner are gonna be your guides to make this 45 square. You can use a square, a triangle, or a tool that you've built for yourself that's already at a 45 degree angle to measure this. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create the marks where your points are going. So this is 2 millimeters, that's the thickness of the ring, but those points come out farther than the thickness of the ring. And this is something that you can choose, the distance. If you have a longer distance from here to here, it's gonna have a sharper, more square look. If you have a shorter distance, closer to that 2 millimeter line, it's gonna be a softer look. The distance I've chosen is 3.5. Over a millimeter makes a more dynamic look. So the next thing we're going to be doing is bringing everything down to the shape. Now that you have your framework, you can start carving. So the first thing you want to do is you always want to keep that reference. This reference point is really important. I'm going to start at the bottom, and you're going to file it flat. You're filing it flat towards that 2 millimeter line. As long as it's flat, you're not going to overrun those 2 marks that you made on the 45 degree angles for your 3.5 millimeters. This is an easy way of controlling your file. Again, you can always do this. and that takes wax away really fast. Always check. It's better to check than go over. And I'm getting really close to my 2mm line. And there we go, we're really close there, and we're gonna leave it. And then you go to your next side, and you file it down. A lot of goldsmiths I know will use their breath. You never want to blow away metal filings, but wax filings you're okay with. Checking my straightness, making sure that your file is level and it's where you want. And that's why we made markings on both sides, so you can follow both sides. All right, looks like things are going well. So that means it's time to take the top away. And that means you're gonna lose your reference point. It's easy to use that flat plane and bring it down. So I said green wax is a hard wax. It's also, again, brittle. So as you make your wax thinner and thinner, you need to be careful as you're holding it, you don't break it. It's hard to do, but when it gets thin enough, it will. And that's just heartbreaking when it happens. So just pay attention. You're using rough tools, but your touch can always be light. Okay, we have brought it down on all four sides to our 2mm line. The next thing we need to do is get those points. And what I've done, like before, we've made these 3.5mm markings on those 45-degree angles. I'll show it on this. Okay. So we're gonna make the points. So these beautiful lines here are what makes this design so dynamic, yet precise. So this is all about your hand movement and your hand skills. You start in the middle and you push it down. And you're kind of moving in this motion, but keep it consistent because you're going all the way around the ring and you're bringing it down to this marking. Where these two lines cross, the 45 and the marking that we made at 3.5mm from the inside of the ring, is where we're getting our points. So we're bringing it down, filing, checking, keeping it safe. I'm getting close. All right, so that one's close. I'm gonna go to the equal and opposite kitty corner point to that and start doing the exact same hand motion. And you'll see a line starting to form. It might be difficult to see, but there's a line starting to form right here. And that's gonna be that point that's oh so important and precise. You check it along that 45-degree angle. Where is your point? Mine is a little bit on this side of the 45-degree angle line. So I can start at this point, and start filing down this way. check it again, that's good, but I'm actually not to my 3.5 millimeter line, so I can file again. And it's just a back and forth game that you play of precision and paying attention. You can also tell something from this line that starts to form if your file is landing flat and cutting flat. If your line isn't perpendicular to the side of your ring, your file isn't flat. And you want a nice crisp line that's perpendicular to the side of your ring. But I'm really liking how this corner is coming out, so I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm using a fairly rough file, and what that'll do is it'll remove a lot of wax in one go. If you're a little unconfident and you don't want to overshoot your point, use a softer file. Okay, we have the top. So you see a nice square forming, and that's how you're going to get to the soft square. So I'm just going to explain how you can check your points and your precision. You take your dividers, your trusty dividers, and you line them up with your points. And you check all four sides, and you make sure that they're equal. And if they are equal, then you've made all four sides the same. That means your hand skills are getting good. The next thing you want to do is you want to check the inside millimeters. Are they at 2? Because you made that line at 2. Alright, that one's 2. That one's 2, and you want to check all four sides. And if everything's equal and you're happy with the way it looks, you just clean up the outside of the ring. Do a few little file strokes here, a few little file strokes here. And you triple check the size. And there you have it. You made a soft square.